It's time now to tackle the headline, and this time of year, boys, it can get a little bit brutal on the contract calls, can't it, of who stays and who goes. But looking around the competition, Macca, there's always the heartstring contract calls, isn't there? Long-time servants of their clubs where, unfortunately, the calls just have to be made if they stay or if they go. They're not easy. They're
not easy, and it's even the younger players who are connected to the club. Had a great chat to Cooper Harvey from Boomer's son from North Melbourne in the rooms after the game last week. It was his first game in 711 days.
He looked good.
He did look good. I love the way he played on from defence. When he was in defence, the old style playing scenario there, and his goal was fantastic. Yeah. He's desperate for another contract. I really hope the Kangaroos can stretch it out, give him another year so that Harvey tradition carries on for at least one more year.
Well, let's have a quick whip around the competition. What's our feeling on Tex Walker? Of course, a few hundred games as a Crow. What are you doing there?
Might have to do a bit what happens in September. I rate them. I think they'll be at the pointy end of finals. If they win, of course, you retire. If they don't, I think the 3 tools works. I think they've done it really well this year, subbed him off a bit. I think I'd lean towards maybe one more if it continues to work well in unison. Those 3 are in sync at the moment, so maybe.
What about the reigning premiers? Of course, Dayne Zorko, a former captain. It's always tough to make a call on someone like that.
Yeah, it is, and he's had another good year. He's so vital to that team. They won't sit down until probably late August, sort of mid to late August, but I suspect he'll get another year. He's playing well enough to go on next year.
Yeah, I know he said on AFL 360 a few weeks ago he was very, very keen.
Very keen. I don't think you ever hear anyone say, I'm done.
Actually,
I've had enough.
I'm actually good. Now, one of the biggest heartstring contract calls, of course, comes at Carlton. Scotty, with Sam Docherty. He's been through a heck of a lot to get here, to say the least. But I've seen that suggested that maybe, this is the week for him to call it his last game. He's playing against his former side. Both he and Brisbane, could say farewell to him and start getting some of the young blood through. But earlier in the season, I felt like he could maybe get another one, but I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he might be a victim of the broom has to go through this place. He had a stint in the reserves. Still heart and soul player.
Still played okay, isn't he?
Has to be handled right, but I fear that a new look, they need new faces, and I think Sam's probably going to be one of the victims of the clean-out.
Now, I mean this in a very respectful way, that we saw an old face at Collingwood on the weekend. Now, don't come for me, Tom Mitchell, but he has been sitting on the sidelines with injury, then sitting in the VFL for the better part of 2 months. But, geez, it really felt like he came in with a point to prove that he can still contribute.
Absolutely, and deep down, he's as desperate. He's told people who are close to him how desperate he is to make his way not only back into this team, to be a regular player in this particular team. I think he's a chance to go on now after not looking like he was going to do it last week. Prior to Friday night, I would have said no. I'm saying maybe yes now.
Yeah.
How does he get a game when Ned Long and everyone else is in that too?
It's hard. That's going to be the hardest thing. But this footy club, they continue to do it. He's not as old as you think he is. There's older players there. So I think he's
not
a rough
all of them.
chance.
They might win the flag and everyone will retire.
Some club will pick him up, though. If he doesn't stay at Collingwood, someone will pick him up. I've got no doubt whatsoever.
Now, I saw that they joked on 360 with Brad Scott that he might be forced to pull the boots on because, unfortunately, the injury crisis out of the Bombers is so bad. But Todd Goldstein, he just keeps on keeping on, doesn't he?
He tried to retire at the start of this.
Well, they might have no one left. That's the other thing.
He's tried to retire about 5 times.
Yes.
Let the poor man go into retirement. Todd, he can be a coach, which he basically is. Surely they can find a few 6 foot 5
the interesting thing is with him, if Draper goes, you got Vicentini, who's a good player. Nick Bryan's coming back from an injury. Do they need him still as insurance? Maybe.
Maybe he gets another gig.
What about Nat Fyfe? Because that was a bit sad a few weeks ago, wasn't it? Just watching him sit there on the bench.
Yeah, it is sad. I think it's a no for Nat Fyfe. If Fremantle want to push forward and want to win a premiership, and sadly, I don't think it'll be with Nat Fyfe.
Well, they don't know what to do with him at the moment.
That's the issue.
Do we put him on in the middle? Then he gets injured in the warm-up. I think they were almost wanted him to go at the start of this season, to be honest. But he wanted to go around again, and he's a legend. But no, not next year.
Yeah, a couple of Cats had question marks over them before this weekend. Now facing injury struggles in Cam Guthrie and Mitch Duncan, it's going to be a tough one there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Mitch Duncan, I think this was the year to get to the 300. Such a great servant. So I'd say probably not for him. Cam Guthrie's an interesting one. Can he get his body right? Does he need to go somewhere else? I wouldn't be surprised, you think Gold Coast or Brisbane. Still a very good player, hasn't played properly for 2-3 years. He might be a punt. He might be worth a punt.
Yeah.
He might need a change of environment, though.
Travis Boak?
No.
Every time I say he's going to retire, he produces something. You're a no, aren't you? You're
I'm a no. Oh, he's a legend. And he still can play, but you don't wait till you...
There'll be no emotion with Josh Carr. He will just make that brutal decision. We know that.
Well, we've seen that with his own premiership teammate, Chad Corns, hasn't we? There's no holds barred. Luke Bruce, Jake Lloyd, 2 more. But, Mackie, you caught up with Jason Johannesson, of course, the Norm Smith medalist, which you think counts for plenty.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's starting to play good footy again. He's channeling Libba. Libba's had all that adversary as well with the injuries, and he's really channeling that. They arrived at the club at the same time. So he really wants to play on, but he sort of wants to see how his body goes. It's good at the moment. He's had so many issues, but he really wants to play on. I think he will. He deserves another year.
Still got his speed. Well, he's still got
Once
his
you've got your speed, you've got to keep going. So I think he's a tick.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe one more. Jeez,
Yes.
I don't envy the guys that have to make these calls. I'm glad it's them and not me. That's it from us on Tackle the Headline. We'll see you next time.